which I like to think that she is. She is, well, I guess she's a bit of a pirate more than anything, and she likes to get the job done with as minimal problems as possible.
That's the real trick. Getting the job done, yes. Getting the job done with minimal problems, gray area. And speaking of getting things done with minimal problems and there being a gray area, let's go down to Scrat. Scrat, how are you doing today?
I am doing fantastic. Minimal problems? No, there is no better thing than crushing your enemies, taking their women, ravaging their lands. Anyway, about the character, I'm playing Torg.
And Torg is a bit of, he follows in the footsteps of the namesake of this game. Yes. We will describe him in a moment, so keep that nugget of oiled beauty. Just put that away and get ready to draw it out when you're ready. Because
I'm retracting my nugget right now.
Right, we all want to experience that. We want to drink it in. If Torg is a pint, we want to savor every sip. So let's cut on over to Lauren. Lauren, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing good. Real excited to get back into this and see how the heck it's all gonna end. Today I am playing Cinna. She is an archer, kind of sneaky. Did some sneaky things last time. So, yeah, we're gonna see if she makes it out of here. That's all.
I'm hoping. Fingers crossed for everybody. The person that's probably not going to make it, though, is Brew. I mean, Brew's got plenty of chances to make it. Brew, how are you doing today, buddy?
Well, I was fine until just now. Thanks, Greg. Now I'm even like more concerned than I was before. No, I'm doing good. I play Zetoro, the Zingaran pirate, and hopefully we'll see how we'll see how he does or doesn't get out of this where he currently is.
Right. I like I said, I've never had any doubts until about a minute and a half ago, and then I'm past it now. I'm past it. I'm back on your side. I figure you've got it nailed down. So Thieves, before we get into this session of the Heart of Crom, let's briefly discuss what happened last session in the Heart of Crom. It turns out that one of the ancestors of the original builders of this vault inside a citadel in the city of Asif in the country of Turan knew how to get back in, and that knowledge had been passed down from father to son to grandson. And as he was able to finally take vengeance for what was wrought upon his family and his family's friends, as all of the other laborers and architects had been killed to keep the secret of this vault safe, he conscripted the likes of the thieves you see around you, just introduced. They entered in through an ancient water duct inside that would lead them past the citadel's defenses into the vault proper. The vault proper acting twofold, to guard the treasures of the citadel and the family housed within, but also, in the event of a siege, house the royal family itself, keeping them with fresh water and foodstuffs despite what might the length or severity of the siege. And so as they were able to rush into this area, their guide Gerald went first. He was very, very adamant about getting in there. He wanted to get in, go here, do that, go through the fountain, escape, and he had sent his boy ahead to be waiting where they would enter or exit with the horses. Everything was going perfectly until they went into the actual plan itself. Gerald had been able to pull himself from the chute of water, but he was kicked off a 300-foot cliff by an unfortunate set of circumstances. And so as their guide was launched into oblivion in the great beyond, hopefully arriving at Valhalla, the rest of the group was able to pull themselves from the waters of this chute, find themselves inside the Sancta Sanctorum, the vault of the Citadel, and where they began to indiscriminately loot, taking large fistfuls of gems and jewels and gold where appropriate, but predominantly displayed in this very lush and shadowy fortress vault. Clutched in a large eagle's talon was the Heart of Crom. an ancient jewel bestowed by the Emperor himself, the Emperor's hands the last to touch this ancient and powerful jewel, said to bestow good luck upon its wielder and possessor. And so as they were able to figure out a way to not only free the heart of Crom from the eagle's talon and the trap in which it was set upon, they were able to get in there, pull it free with the help of maybe the initiative of Torg, who simply grabbed it and realized that action was the best form of defense in the situation. The escape tunnel was found, and as they were passing through the escape tunnel, they ran upon what can only be described as a black mass, as there were rows of near 50 worshippers who were standing, praising, kneeling, standing, praising, kneeling, in a fog of incense and drug-fueled delight. And as a few of their number were kind of weeded out in the back, allowing the thieves to get closer to the fountain, there seems to have been pursuit from the vault as 3 guards approached. Quickly dispatched by Torg, his pectoral muscles, and Artigan, they were able to kind of shore up their flank or their rear as they realized their front had 48 to 50 people. Without a way of escaping, and between a proverbial Torg and a hard place, they now face an additional threat as 6 more of these guards are creeping down the path behind. And we will drill back into the city, into the citadel, into the vault, into the midst of the thieves as we become one with them. For what are we, chat, but thieves ourselves? And so now as we go back through, I would like everyone to tell me where they ended the last episode and what is going through the minds of their characters. We will go in reverse order. Brew, what's he thinking?
Zatoro slipped out from behind the painting that they cut their way through, thinking that there would maybe be 1 or 2 more cultists, and suddenly found like 4 dozen. So he's sticking to the shadows right now and trying desperate, probably doing a lot of this, and trying not to move whatsoever, and just trying to see if the others can get into the room so they can make it over to the fountain. But right now, he's using his free action to try to not poop a little.
Okay, keeping the pants clean. That's the best idea for a free action I've heard yet. Lauren.
Right.
Senna, what's she doing?
So after very easily dispatching 2 of the nearest cultists through the little slit that Zatoro cut, Senna has been, I believe I moved forward behind the fountain because she knows what they need is a way out. And so that's all she's thinking is get out, get out, get out.
Correct. And as we drill back in and as we see Senna creeping up towards the fountain on silent feet, already having dispatched the only deaths in this chamber wrought by the bow of Senna, she gets closer and looks into the fountain as explained last week. We see not water inside the fountain with black candles and wax dripping down, but the heads of humans. And inside, where clear water may have existed in the past, now is a brackish mixture of blood, bodily fluid, some type of green and yellow smear and scum that seems to be floating across the top. And we also ended with the narrative saying that as Senna was able to view this and look at this, she was reminded of what Gerald said, that the exit lied, that it was through the fountain. And so we jump back up to Cap. Cap, what is Artigan doing right now?
Artigan has just walked away from Rhoda, believing that the situation between the 3 guards has immediately been dispatched after Tor killed 2 and he killed 1. He suspects that there's probably more coming, but now he's in the mindset of let's get out of here, pretty much.
Excellent. So with the thoughts of escape now in his mind, I will also let Zatoro know that the gods have rained down favor upon him, as another fortune point is bestowed upon the man desperately trying not to poop himself. As fortune would have it, you don't. Alice, what's Rhoda doing?
Rhoda had just seen these 6 new guards come running, or well, sneaking, up the tunnel. And she looks at them, and then she looks at Torg, sort of, as he's carrying the body. And she sighs, sort of, like, and starts pinning her hair up and drawing her saber out. And she looks back at Torg. We may have a little bit of a problem. And in her head, she's thinking, we either need to move quick or we need to kill them quick.
So as Rhoda readies herself for perhaps the only 2 possibilities, flight or fight, we go to Torg, who is marionetting a body with a very loose left arm. Torg, you get to end off the positioning, and final thoughts from the barbarian before we re-enter the fray.
So Torg is back in the tunnel, standing amidst the bodies of the people that he crushed or were cut down by his allies. This person's probably still alive. They're probably just unconscious. He only pulled their arm out. I mean, I wouldn't say that's a killing blow yet. It might be untreated. But he's holding this body.
You crushed his throat. He's dead.
Oh yeah, I did crush his throat, didn't I? He looks at the throat and goes, oh yeah, no, I did crush the throat, I suppose. Okay. So he's holding him by the throat. He's a forgetful guy, he's holding him by the throat. He looks to the left and he sees the 6 guards coming, and a sort of smile blooms on his face, because now the real treasure's arriving. Now the precious moments are coming, and his final thoughts are very much going to be vocalized, I think, as he will throw this body that he's holding down the chamber towards the 6 that are coming and shout to everyone, "There's more! More guards are coming!"
And so as this echoes not only in the small space with Torg and Rhoda, but we'll go back out as Artigan has just kind of come through the painting into the area. Seeing now, Artigan, as you turn, you see the rows of these cultists as they kind of sweep upward this black ziggurat with its candles of dripping ebony wax all the way up where they kneel and pray and kneel and stand and praise. And at the top with a staff holding a cross is a priest or priestess, someone that is leading the prayer. Artigan, you turn and see all of this just as the warning of Torg reverberates from outside of this kind of shotgun barrel tunnel. Zatoro, as you're standing frozen, keeping as much of your body in the shadows and one with the shadows, you hear the scream come out. Senna, as you are standing perhaps with the farthest of an advancement of the thieves at the fountain, you sit there and you are looking at this brackish water as this warning comes from the tunnel. Rhoda, with the force of Torg's warning, the hair is a good thing you just pinned it back. It might have blown a bit because it was so violent in its bellowing as it blasted out. And as you see these headbands that are coming into the darkness glistening, as the first passes into the light, you recognize that their faces are slightly different than the ones that you had faced before, where the others appeared very much your peers as far as their level of humanity. These seem to possess almost a deterioration of their faces. They continue to breathe. They do not look dead or zombies, but as they smile, they look to be filled with elements of ritualistic scarification, with raised markings upon the cheeks above beards. And when they open their mouths, their tongues split into 4 quadrants as it opens almost like some type of praying flower or plant. Each of them, inside the tongue, you can see that this is not some type of spell. This is an actual device used by whatever it is that they worship, as it was cut in half and half again. And now independently, the 4 pieces kind of open and extend. And as they say something, you realize the quietness or the silence of their actions was not something they were choosing. as the only thing that they can create vocally is a whisper as they and they come forward, but the others, as they move with these quad cut tongues, all begin to peel out of the shadows and creep towards Torg and Rhoda. Everyone, Thieves, as we know here in Modifius's 2d20 system, initiative lies always with the players, unless I'm a dick and use Doom to jump in front. I'm not going to do so today, as I would like to know who in this situation would like to go first. I would suggest Cinna, as there are heads beginning to turn to look in that direction.
Okay, well, great. She curses in Zamorian a lot, just to herself. I think what I'd like to do, and depending whether this works or not, I'm gonna move. I want to examine the fountain. I want to see, I probably already have an arrow out. I want to see if it goes deep, if there's some kind of passageway in it or something, or some kind of trigger. I just want to look at it as much as I can.
Okay, so you're going to do this despite the fact that you may expose yourself to this. Like, if you heard the shout, presumably if anybody turns around, Cinna's probably going to be one of the first ones they see with Artigan.
I curse Torg, and I won't stay by it. I'll go with my good buddy who saved my life, Zatoro, behind the columns.
Okay, so as you are moving to get there rapidly, I would like you to roll for me a boop, 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 boop. Let's do some stealthy stealth.
Okay.
As you're going quick.
Yeah. I'm gonna use one of my 3 points of fortune.
Okay, you just want to
Yep.
knock it out of the park here. Okay.
Yep. Nope.
Okay, so as you spend a fortune point to basically just kind of leap and somersault into one of the other columns, and you spin just as the first eyes of the cultists begin to come around. Who would like to go next? Okay, I thought the stream went down for a second. You may hand off initiative to somebody else here, or somebody else may take it. We are thieves after all. They don't have to wait to be. So take or give, Thieves. Who's next?
And I mean, Torg's not going to be, he's not going to be idle. He's going to be running towards these guys and shouting back there, Rhoda, go on, get out!
So as Torg charges the 6 armed men in the tunnel, Torg, as the narrative stated last time, taking up the majority, maybe 70 to 80% of the tunnel as he moves through it. Torg, you are easily able to reach them as these quad-cut tongued guards reach you. What would you like to do?
Am I right in understanding that their jaw is also cut?
Just the tongues. Just the tongues.
Oh, okay, just the
So
tongues.
when-
I thought they were doing
yeah,
some
the-
Halo shit. I was like, ooh.
The tongues split and split again, so they kind of open into almost like a starfish type of maneuver.
Just the first one, can I just try and run up and just grab its tongue and try and pull it out? That's weird. It's wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. Roll a melee attack for me to see if you can grab some tongue. Yeah, you can grab some tongue. And you got a point of momentum, so if you'd like to spend that for an additional damage die, if you're going to give this thing a yank, your base damage with your brawn is, and I have this down somewhere, is going to be 3 anyway, and so with a momentum, I'll give you 4 damage dice if you want to roll 4 of the damage dice to see what we got. Okay, we got one effect in here too, which is going to be vicious as you are using this particular attack. So that will do 3 damage to him as you grab the tongue and yank, but you're not able to rip out all of it, but you do get 2 of the splits. So you pull off 2 of the splits as the whispering, becomes as blood begins to spurt from this now torn muscle in this gentleman's face. As the blood rushes down over his chin, is there anything else Torg would like to do?
I'm still not familiar with the question, with the system. Can I I don't know. Can I basically attack again, just rush in and start bull rushing them back, or am I restricted
this is
to more?
Right, this is a good thing to see if we want to do this. You spent the momentum that you had there. If you spend a fortune point, you can, for a bonus action, you can attack again if you want to spend a fortune point. If not, you can...
I mean, I only have 2 of those, but yeah, fuck it, let's do it. Let's rush in and let's attack again. And this time, the tongue just seems to pop right off. Let's go for something more I don't know, more solid. Let's go for a leg or something. Let's try and pull that off instead.
Okay, are you still going barehanded? You're not keen to use...
I'm seeing this as a small corridor, and I've got a massive broadsword. That's no use here. I'm gonna rush in and use man to man,
I would have you roll an intelligence check here, because you did see how Artigan used his broadsword in this area by using it more like a spear. But this is Torg, so I'm not sure that that's even fair to ask you to do. Yes, so you can go right ahead and try to... Okay, yeah, so somehow Torg figures out, you can use it as a spear if you would like to.
I mean, I think that's just going to be too restrictive. No, he's just going to try and keep his hands free so he can defend himself and fight. And...
Okay.
Hands. Just hands.
Absolutely. So go ahead and give me another melee attack as you go now for the lead guy's leg. That's 2 with a 1, which is a critical, meaning 3 successes. So you get to roll 6 damage die to see what happens to this guy. As you can bank the 2 extra momentum or just use it for damage. I'm going to assume, unless you tell me otherwise, that Torg is always going to burn it for damage, as he is.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know his trope. You're there. Yeah.
Right.
5, 6, and if I can, I'd like to take the single leg and just sweep him onto the floor so that his head's gonna hit the floor. I'm trying to kill him. That's
okay.
My goal.
Okay, so as you sweep this guy down to the ground, as soon as he hits and as soon as you yank, and that was a total of, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. As you, with the additional vicious being put into that, you are able to pull, and as you wrench, you hear the hip pop. In fact, everybody hears the hip pop, as a hip popping from a socket is not a pleasant sound, nor is it quiet. And so as it breaks and twists, you feel the muscle begin to give, very much like the shoulder joint gave moments earlier, as you realize the only thing holding this man's leg to body is probably the glute muscle and the quad, and where they are attached now is tenuous at best, as you kind of wrench this leg and completely disable this guy. He is hurt in a massive way as he lies in front, 5 of his brethren, seemingly unaffected by his current plight as they continue to advance. If there's nothing else you would like to do, Torg, let me know and we can hand off to somebody else.
Isn't it wonderful when the sweat starts to mix with the oils and you get all warm and greasy? Come on, you dogs!
Everyone hears that as we go to the next person.
I think Rhoda will have seen Torg just charging off and seeing these creatures with their faces and their tongues and everything like that. She sort of shudders but still runs straight after Torg, and probably more trying to pick at the bits that she can get round him because he's so big. If there's anyone that she can get to, she will try and attack and support Torg.
Absolutely, and she has her saber out, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so what I'm going to allow you to do is it would take you 2 successes to basically hold your position, and as the others are kind of charging and Torg's moving all around, you kind of wait, and as you see an opening under his armpit or something, you basically will thrust with the sword out from underneath and kind of stick them as they are coming at Torg. So yes, you can do so, but it'll take 2 successes. Okay. And you can always use, let me see. I believe you can use momentum to use additional die for this, or not, maybe. Maybe I am being generous in my... That's bonus damage.
Oh
so
god,
yeah,
he's gone German on us.
And it's melee, isn't it? Actually, yeah, let's...
Yep. Yeah, so yeah, Ozzy actually just found this in Conan. You can use 2 momentum for a swift action that would have saved you your fortune. So what I'll do is I'll take the momentum out of the pool. Thank you, Ozzy, and give that fortune back to Torg as we look and see. Okay, Alice, you have the 1 that came through with the melee. If you want to, now you can spend as Ozzy just put down here, we can spend 2 more momentum, and you can use those to do another action and try to stab again. You can also use a fortune to guarantee that you'll hit.
I think I'll use a fortune. I haven't used one of those
Okay.
yet, so yeah.
So as you use a fortune to guarantee that you'll hit, let me take away the 2 momentum that we spent last time. You guys have 3 momentum, and so you're able to drive through and hit with your weapon. If you want to roll your saber, which should be at the bottom of your character sheet, we will be able to.
It's a 7.
Whoa! Holy. Okay, so Torg, what you see is as you jump down and twist and rip this guy's leg basically off of his body, screaming at them to be dogs, as you scream and yell. How long is Torg's hair?
Torg keeps it short.
That's what I thought.
He cuts it so that people can't pull it or anything. He's 100% efficiency in fighting.
So as you're down there, figure 4 leg lock, breaking this guy's leg off of his body, you see the blade pass about an inch by your left ear. Just as another one of these quad-tongued guys come down, it shoots and pierces the left eye of the gentleman that was coming in, and you actually see the back of his hair puff a bit as the sword point of Rhoda's saber pops out of the back of his skull, and as she retracts it back, you see him drop down in front, covering the writhing form of the essentially one-legged man that you have in your grasp. Rhoda, you have dispatched a second of these intruders. Is there anything else you would like to do?
No, I think she'll just then wait and see. Probably watch Torg rather than anything, see where he's going next, because if he bolts into her, that could probably kill her.
Okay. So yeah, she's able to dance back and give Torg his oily space. Who would like to go next, as we are now left with only Zatoro and Artigan in the temple proper?
Have I been seen yet?
Everything's happening instantaneously, so what you would have seen is, or probably not because of the rapid nature of Cinna's disappearance, she was at the fountain, the shout came out, she was gone. And as you're standing there, you're experiencing the same shout, you're experiencing the same thing, whereas your companion has disappeared somewhere into the shadows. You are now the lone member of this group that seems to be readily visible, as you notice that several of the motions of the robes have stopped. No longer are they praising, kneeling, bowing. It seems to have all stopped, and you believe you are a breath away from some type of action by them.
Okay, let's think about this then. Let me just check my skills for a second. Let's have a look. So, how would he play this? He's not great with intelligence, but he has got discipline. What would it work? Okay, can I see Sataro? Is he by me?
He's hidden.
You saw.
You were told that he was in the room, but you never witnessed exactly where he hid. Only Rhoda and I believe Cinna saw him actually spin and go behind the column. By his absence in the tunnel, and Rhoda's mentioned that there was a lot of cultists out there, you can only assume that Zatoro is somewhere in the area.
Well, the character would play like he did last week. He would play for tactical advantage. Now, he knows that there's guys back there. However, there's Torg. He knows Rhoda's not sloppy, but Torg pretty much counts as 2 people. So tactical advantage, he would try to hide himself. If he realizes that the robes are stopped and are probably going to start to turn around to look in his direction, he would try to get into some form of cover. He would try to get into some form of cover and get back into a tactical advantage. Maybe sucker these guys in, investigating the noise, and take them out.
Gotcha. Okay, so I'm going to need you to make a stealth roll here. And if you would like to, let's see, you can use momentum here to, let me see, I don't think you can actually jack up your stuff with momentum. You can use fortune here, however, if you would like to, as Senna did, to just disappear. It is up to you, though. Yeah.
Question. Because he's not trained in stealth, but my dex is not bad. So can I use a fortune point after I make the stealth roll, or does that have to be declared before?
Yeah, we're going to declare it before for narrative use, because if you're going to use it, it's the best possible success that you could have. And
perfect, makes sense. In that case, then he would again, the character, all about tactical advantage. He will spend the fortune point to disappear himself.
Okay, so is there any place you would like to hide? There are the columns in the back there. As a tactician, Artigan would probably assume his friends are probably somewhere in those deep shadows. You can go there. You can try to hide back behind the painting in the tunnel. You can elect to maybe move closer to the cultists and like lie against the bottom of the ziggurat in the shadows. Where would you like to be?
He would hide behind the pillar near the hole in the wall, where what he's thinking is they've heard the shout, they're going to come over towards the hole, he'll be waiting for them. So he's going to cut a window of opportunity for Rhoda and Torg to get out.
Absolutely. So you're waiting to unleash hell should there be the
should
ability.
They come over, should they come over to the hole to investigate, he will waylay it in on them.
Gotcha. Okay, so you are effectively hidden. How are we going to do this, Zatoro? Unless you have anything else for me, my friend.
No, I'm good.
All right. So where I'm from, or where I'm positioned, can I see the cultists?
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of peering, both you and Senna are kind of peering out around keeping a tactical eye on them. You're deep in the shadows, though. As you succeeded on your stealth check and she used fortune, you guys are well enough in the shadows that you're not going to be seen by the naked eye as they turn around. You can see the cultists, though, and they are turning around. Several of them are turning around, the majority.
What is my assessment of them? Do they look like soft-bodied revelers, or like muscly battle priests, or what are they actually? Can I get a read off of them?
Yeah. Why don't we do a let's see. Give me an observation, if you will, and I will tell you. Yep, and with a 1 needed, it's very difficult to tell. They're all in robes. However, with your description of soft and perhaps, revelers, you see various body shapes.
Okay.
It's difficult to tell sex, gender, age, anything like that. But you can't, you can tell there's tall, as they kind of now are not moving anymore. There's smaller, there's rounder, there's thinner. So you're able to discern that there is a bevy, an array, and a smorgasbord, if you will, of cultist shapes and sizes.
Okay. I'm gonna kind of go for a gamble here, and I don't know that there's an actual mechanic for this, but it'll be up to you. I would like to take up my whip and try to what I want to do is I want to kind of crack it around in the darkness there from where I am, and I want to try to kind of bounce my voice off of the walls, so that it comes in, because I thought you said this is 30 feet across or 50 feet across, something like that. And I kind of want to give them just like a mad, insane kind of laugh, like really loud and try to get it to where like I can just kind of fill the chamber with it, and so that like all they can hear is like laughter and the cracking of a whip, and see if I can like maybe kind of scare some of them off.
Okay,
and
so
I'll definitely use a fortune point for that, Greg.
Okay, so yeah, I was gonna say this is our first ability where there are two different types of stress that you can take in the 2d20 system. There is the physical stress, the vigor that you can take, but there is also mental stress that you can take, where people kind of like lose their nerve or their morale, or they lose their backbone for this type of thing. So with a fortune point being spent, this crack of the whip sounds sinister. It sounds not the cracking of a bullwhip or, a matador or a tamer or an animal handler of some kind. This sounds more like the clicking of perhaps even a devil tongue, or the clicking of a forked tail as it sweeps across the floor, and with accompanied by the guttural growls and gravelly sounds the Toro is making. As we now cut to the other side, as the cultists turn around, everyone that's looking will see the following. All of the cultists' eyes appear to be glowing a pale shade of green. As they turn and reveal their faces, you see people from all walks of life. Older women, younger men, children that are seemingly in this black mass. As they all turn around, their eyes glowing. And several of them on the lower floor begin to inch up the ziggurat as they notice the two dead bodies that are lying there with arrows still perhaps, quivering a bit out of their skulls. And as they hear this sound, this whipping and this cracking, they begin to kind of move their arms and pull their peers up the ziggurat. And at the very top of the ziggurat turns around, and there is a woman standing there with completely straight white hair. And as she spins, it's sticking out and lying against her breasts, against her own cloak. She lowers the hood, and her eyes are a much deeper, much more vibrant glowing green. And as she looks down, of all the 48, 47 of them begin to creep up the ziggurat, but one of them begins to inch down, and that is the woman at the top, as she takes her staff and begins to crack it along each of the stone steps of the ziggurat and descends. So as sounds like my ex, right? So as we are into that area, we are now going to jump into the tunnel. As Torg, you are now only can be attacked by two of these creatures at a time. So as they first come in here, let's see what they are going to do. Okay, so they roll 2 successes as they go for your left arm, and you get hit by... You are going to get hit for a combination of 7 stress, as the first one takes a absolute chunk out of your left arm, the one that was currently holding the leg, as the creature pulls the sword in, and its tongue splits into 4, each of them independently curling as if in ecstasy, seeing your pain as it draws it back, and as it pulls back its wicked curved cutlass, it looks at it, and one of the corners of one of the portions of the tongue licks along the blade, and you see that portion split as it hits the edge and the razor of the blade. Seemingly not disturbed is quad-tongued man, as the second attacks as well. This gentleman only hits once for an additional 3 stress. Actually, hold on a second. The second one was only 2. I'm going to keep that momentum. It's a total of 7 stress total. So with both attacks from both people, it's 7 stress total. As they both come in, the first hit your left arm, the second hits your left arm as well. They are working your left arm. As Rhoda, you see him take these 2 shots with blood kind of spraying back up the tunnel as these 2 creatures are coming in simultaneously, each of them dipping and attacking, tasting the blood after each strike. So, we are back to the top of the order. Cinna, what would you like to do as the cultist seems to be creeping up, as the cult leader seems to be creeping down?
Well, fuck. I would like to, I guess, shoot the cultist lady from the shadows. Because that seems like a good idea. I don't think I can get out of here before she gets down here. Oh well. Yeah, so I'm gonna, peek out with my arrows and shoot her. And I get an extra, because I have a hunting bow, I can spend 2 loads. I get a bonus d20 and an extra combat die per load. So 2 extra.
Yeah, and you're firing away at her, correct?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And yes, Ozzy was correct, because that's more than 5 stress in one attack or one sequence there. You get a wound as you are gripped to the side there, Torg. So you have a wound, kind of 4 wound boxes above your stress. Go ahead and check that, as the first of which has begun to definitely hurt your left arm. I'll tell you if it comes into play at all.
Okay. Here we go. 2 with a crit. I'd also, I'll see how much damage I do real quick. So it's 3 combat die plus the extra 2. So that's 5.
Yeah, your
Plus
combat die, I have you down as 3 bonus damage because of your specialty. So
Yeah.
you're going to, yep.
How many? You tell me.
Well, you can also, I'll let you know, since you're going to have at least 2 momentum here
Yeah.
that you have spent with this first volley,
Yeah.
you can use those as additional damage dice immediately, so they
What
stack.
I'd like to do actually is use 2 to disarm her, make her drop the staff.
Absolutely.
Like it.
You can do that, and it's super dope. I love it. I couldn't love it anymore. So yeah, it'll take 2 of them to disarm her. So
Yeah.
if you want to take your shot, you're going for apparently the handheld weapon that she's going.
Mhm.
Roll your normal damage and if we
Okay.
get the hit,
So it's
2 momentum.
it's 3 plus my extra 2, right? So 5
Yep.
combat die total. Okay.
Correct. Yep.
2, 1 plus effect, 2. Nice.
Okay,
Okay.
so as the first shot goes out, as she is walking down, clicking it, the shot goes and takes the first 3 fingers from pinky to ring finger to tall man off of her body as they drop to the ground, and she turns to scream as the staff slumps to the ground and starts clattering down the ziggurat as she turns, and the 3 stumps of her now severed digits are spurting blood as she looks and turns, she herself suffering a wound from that damage.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back in the shadows.
Okay, you're gonna attempt to re-hide.
Yeah, why not?
Okay, you are being stared at by this woman, so to do this, you're going to need to roll a 3 success type of stealth roll here, because she is literally like watching you. You just shot off 3 of her fingers.
I don't know what you're talking about. This is super normal. I mean, I guess I'll just roll it.
Sure, I love how you think.
Ugh. Just 1.
I mean, you're able to go back and you are able to kind of keep yourself into the darkness again, but you can see as these green eyes are staring into the darkness, looking at you. And as the spurt of this very dark, in the candlelight, it's difficult to tell, but you're pretty sure it's not red blood, is creeping down the outside of her hand. She kind of sets it for a second and binds it with a piece of her robe as she is looking around for her staff, as now the other cultists are definitely pulling back up as she is proceeding to have identified a target. Torg, what would you like to do?
Before I want carry on, I just want to check on the status of my arm. Now, I understand the word stress is being used a lot. I can see boxes saying vigor, fatigue, resolve, despair. Where should I record this?
Yes, I'm sorry. The stress that you are taking during all of that is your hit points. So you see your vigor. Your vigor is your hit points for this. And so underneath the vigor goes down. Anytime that we have something else, I'll let you know, but we're going to predominantly be using the vigor for right now. So you take that, and you also have a wound that I can actually put on there for you.
Is that just W at the top there?
W at the top in the first box. Yep.
Got it. Nailed it. Okay, so I guess his wound sort of like made his arm a bit useless. Maybe that's not very nice. How dare he?
He can still use it. He got hit pretty bad. It's more for a narrative flavor than anything else. So don't limit yourself to something that can only be done with your right arm. Yeah.
So the one that did the most, the 7 stress, the one that did the initial stabbing, he's gonna like sort of he's gonna step on his feet and push him as hard as he can, hoping to break his ankles and all the rest of it.
Okay, so as you go into that, again, give me a melee attack as Torg is upset. Nice. So you get 1 success, but the 1 success that you do receive, or the 2 successes that you do receive, one of those is within inside your knowledge, your focus level. So it's 3 successes, meaning at this point you can roll, being Torg, 7 damage dice should you wish it, as you kind of physically attack this man and throw him from the area. So it would push him back into the host that is coming forward, but it would do so at great velocity. The damage being done narratively will be done by the people behind him carrying swords that you're throwing him into. So it's Torg using his environment.
Like trying to hold him with my feet and push him with my hands, sort of thing. You know what I mean? So he just sort of bang.
Oh, you're being absolutely awful.
Yeah, I'm stepping on his feet so that all of his like ligaments and everything break as he goes down. Like,
love it.
That's the plan. Now, before I use all of these 7 dice, can I use these 7 dice to attack again, or is that a different thing?
Yeah, you can use 1 of them for extra damage and 2 of the other ones to have another swift attack bunched up to a major attack. So you can do what you did last time. Yep.
Yep, awesome. So, sorry, I'm not familiar with it. How many damage dice do I roll, and then I'll do another attack?
5 damage dice, and then another attack for me, sir.
Lovely, thank you.
And we are all learning this as we go, myself included, and luckily we have Ozzy, who's in chat, who's able to help us out with quick references to the book. So we appreciate chat watching us as we learn a fantastic system in Modiphius' 2d20. I believe Cap said it best last week, easy to learn, difficult to master, and we're going to try to do both. So... Okay, so after everything that you do in this is vicious because of the aforementioned weaponry behind these guys. So you are going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 damage to this guy, giving him a wound as you throw him back on his friend's swords. But as you do so, there are 2 massive cracks as you basically give this guy like Liz Frank injuries by breaking the middle of his feet as he flies back with your weight and cracking the ankles, and as he flies back, he goes down, his wound being enough with this particular type of enemy to cripple him like forever. As he's lying there grasping at his shattered ankles and the fronts of his feet, you guys now have, I believe, 4 or 3 of these gentlemen who are continuing to rush towards you, and you have another attack, Torg.
Yeah, so it's going to be real swift as he's sort of going down. He sees the other guy to his left. He's just going to throw a nice quick right hook. That right hook's going to be aimed about the jaw, maybe cheekbone level. And, he's looking to take this guy out. He's looking for that resounding, the fist goes through, but the head stays there sort of.
Roll another melee attack for me as Torg is manning the barrel here. Nice. Okay, so with 2 successes again, you get an additional momentum die here. You cannot use it to get another action, but you can use it to add to damage. So your total damage here is going to be 6, or I'm sorry, it's going to be 5 again. So 5 damage dice as you punch the next one. Rhoda, we have you coming up next. I would like you to go ahead for me and roll a observation check for me, please.
Okey-dokey.
That is free with 2 effects.
An observation is 2.
Your effect in this situational effect is, of course, the 2 blades that are behind this guy. And so as you punch, his head spins. It doesn't quite have that power of effect where you kind of hit it, it rocks and comes right back into place. Oh, there go my bangs. Oh, my bangs. You hit it, and as his head spins, his buddy is stepping up forward, and you watch as the dagger that one's holding goes into the left cheek, pops out just below the right eye of the gentleman you just punched, and the guy shakes off his buddy's head as this one drops to the ground as well. As Torg, you're standing there bleeding profusely from I know I need a studded leather headband, Jim. I desperately need one. As the left arm is bleeding profusely of Torg the Barbarian, Rhoda, as you're standing there and you see kind of bits and pieces as you see above like pectoral and below trap or vice versa, as you are kind of peeking around this oily mass of Torg, you don't see so much as you hear a chant coming from down the tunnel, and you hear that kind of augmented whisper that you heard produced by these guards with the quad split tongues, and it's this Haina, 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 Haina. And as you then look with these two observation, you see for a moment underneath the armpit as one of the bodies drops to the floor after the punch, and you see a glint of a reptilian eye, roughly the same size as the tunnel, as something seems to be coming behind them. It too is wearing a makeshift band around where its forehead would be, right above the ridges of its eyes. And as it's creeping down, it is every bit the size, the head at least, of Torg.
Okay, so all the people Torg was fighting, have they all sort of fallen over from where or they've been pushed back a bit?
Torg has a makeshift wall of bodies in front of him, as there's one guy still writhing a bit beneath two other bodies, his leg horrifically dislocated. There is the gentleman that was killed and fell atop him. There is now the guy who had his feet broken, who is screaming in that weird whisper scream, grabbing his shattered ankles and the cuts that he had faced when falling into his friends. And then now there is the additional body that had just been punched into a dagger. So there's quite a collection, a menagerie of violence in front of Torg, and there are two of these guys still up, and then beyond them, through the melee, as everything kind of slowed for Rhoda, she was able to look, and she kind of locked gazes with this very inhuman reptilian eye as it was moving into the cavern behind you guys.
Okay, so she's going to look to Torg, and knowing that he's probably going to want to fight this if he sees it. Has Torg actually seen the reptile? Is it just me?
Torg is deep in bloodlust right now.
Okay, that's fine. As the one he's currently fighting falls, she puts a hand on Torg's arm, still watching the reptilian eye. And she's like, now it's all been a lot of fun here, but I say we back up. And there's like 40 more of these things in the room back there for you to kill. Like, why don't we go and expend some of your energy there? And she's like trying to get him to back up. And then if there's one on the floor, if it like twitches or makes it, she'll just try and stab it to make it like look like it's dead. If there's a guard still on the floor.
For a free action, you can kill the poor bastard who had his leg almost ripped off. He's like too deep in death right now, and you can just barely see movement. And so as you drop your saber through the wriggling mass stops wriggling, and you are able to pull it free.
Can I no, Rhoda, leave him. He will be assigned to our enemies.
I'm pretty sure this, and I sort of gesture to this mass of bodies, like this will be a very good sign. Now, the other
we show them we appreciate pain and not death. We want to hurt them.
Yeah, the limbs protruding and not so like kicking the limp like leg that he's pulling. It's like that'll do fine. Okay, so why don't we go and kill the other ones? I'm sure you'll love it. Yes. Okay.
Come
And like
on!
if he turns and runs, I'm like still watching the reptile, but backing away with my back to Torg so that I can see if this reptile does something completely different, and then I turn and run after if it doesn't.
And right, and for the narrative, what we'll do is as Torg turns and kind of squeezes past Rhoda and emerges into the temple proper, Rhoda, as you're kind of backing up your saber out, you see this creature coming, and as it's slithering through, taking up almost the entire space, you see the two men that are left there as they just turn and kneel, and they begin to, and you see the snake open its jaw as it cracks open, and you see both of them go down its gullet as it swallows the two guards and then just kind of slips past the death wall that Torg had created. And as it opens and its hinged mouth begins to close again, you see the last face of one of the guards as it turns and looks in ecstasy as the tongue splits one last time as it disappears into the snake's maw, and it is slithering towards you, Rhoda.
She can't quite hold back the disgust on her face. She's just like she probably gags a little bit, but then turns and runs after Torg.
Okay, so the two of you kind of burst out into the scene. Torg, any semblance of the painting has now been sundered as it gets ripped off of its frame. The canvas goes flying as Torg bursts out for the first time into the temple proper. Torg, you see now what everyone else has seen, a host of some 47 of these cultists, one of them descending. And now, Rhoda, when you burst out into this room, it is only now that you are all in this place together that I'm going to ask everyone to roll a Constitution saving throw, except for Zatoro, who's already done so, as you get a big whiff of all the drug-fueled incense in this place.
Have I still got my scarf tied around my face from last week, or would that have...
Yeah, you did tell us you did, but this is more of a contact type of thing. It's not necessarily an inhalation.
What are we rolling?
Yeah, where...
I'm sorry. This is... Yeah, what did I make you guys roll before as you came in here? It was resistance. I'm sorry, resistance.
Oh.
Ah.
Mm.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
Two
God.
dice. Nailed it.
Okay, here we go. Ugh. No, bad. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Oh my. That seems about right.
Okay, so Cinna, as you are sitting there, and we have gone through your session already. You shot off just as you shoot off the fingers of this priestess. I'm going to spend a doom point here and go ahead and allow this to happen. As you're standing there, she turns and you see her use her now one-fingered, one-thumb hand, and as she begins, she twists the air, and the incense coalesces around your face, zips into your throat, and Zatoro, as you are probably closest to her, knowing where she went, you see her stop, freeze, and you see her drop to the ground, her bow clattering as she hits. Everyone else is okay. Alice, Rhoda, when you kind of burst out, your eyes begin to water, and you kind of cough. You believe that if you had come out into this area and done this, it would have alerted everybody before. But other than that, other than having to kind of cough and verbalize the drug, you're fine. But unfortunately, the mechanics require that two fumbles like that result in something that does not agree. Okay, so as we cut back down, we're going to go to Artigan. Artigan, you perhaps see the bow kind of clatter out from the side as you witness this kind of coalescing of the fog. You see the bursting out of Torg, who is severely wounded in his left arm, but seems otherwise engaged in bloodlust, and Rhoda, who is running out of the tunnel as she kind of coughs and stutters into the area. What would you like to do?
Okay, so he's gonna, not pure observation, but he'll quickly peek around. Not the smartest, but he does have some lore. He has been around, so I think it was pretty fair to say that there may have been some magic involved with the white-haired one with the white staff. So wrong franchise, but same effect. I want a Highlander this bitch.
You want to try to take her head?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so you're going to have to wade up into the cultist to do so, as she's still not fully descended through the mass of the... They're retreating up the ziggurat, but there is a host of these cultists.
Right. Okay. Is there some sort of elevation? So you said this is a ziggurat. Is there some sort of like structure? Basically, here's what I want to do. If she's down there, I'm at the top somewhere. I basically want to...
It's the other way around. You guys are at the bottom, and she is descending from the top down towards you all.
She's descending, and the cultists are in my way.
Correct.
Okay.
It's like you're on the stage of an amphitheater, and she's coming from the cheap seats.
Oh, okay. All right, then. I thought she was coming down, and those boys were waiting. Okay, then. Interesting. So how can I get through them? Is there a way I can get through them mechanically? Like fortune point? I don't know. I get some form of leverage and just fly over them. I don't know. Jump over them or somehow.
I tell you what we'll do here. I will allow, if you want to get close to her, I will allow the following. You can do an acrobatics to try to like leap over them, get within range with her, and then once you get in there, you can spend 2 momentum of the party's 3, and use that as an additional swift action to get your close combat attack on her.
Right, okie dokie. Now my acrobatics is technically, I've got to roll 11 or under. I'm actually proficient in acrobatics. Let's see. Roll it or use a fortune to guarantee it. You know what, YOLO, let the dice tell the story. Let's roll this acrobatics. Let the dice tell the story. Let's do this. 1 success.
That's all you need, as you basically just start hurdling these people as you use your movement, and with the last, you kind of bounce off of one of the ziggurat columns, plant a hand on the shoulder as old Artigan kind of leaps up and comes down with his broadsword in front of this priestess. And as she's standing there, and as you actually see her and are this close, you can tell that the blood that's now coming down her left arm as it glistens from the black candles is in fact green.
Greetings. And because I need to go down to here, and a whack.
Okay.
1 success.
You hit once, roll damage for me, and I will tell you what it does.
Okay, let's see how this goes.
Ooh,
7.
Nice. So as you hit, or you swing the broadsword around, going for a killing strike to her neck, as you come through, let's see, you also rolled through there. Oh, wow. Effects. Would you have any special effects here? You don't with your broadsword except parry, right?
No, it's just a parry.
Okay. So as you come through, we'll just use the base damage. You feel a super resistance when you get close to her. And when you get close, it's almost as if you're cutting through something fibrous, as you it completely halts the momentum of your arm. You are still able to get in a cut right around where her shoulder meets her neck, and that green blood begins to stain the outside of her robe, but the massive attack that you did to her seems to have been halted by some type of unseen force. And as she turns and looks, she opens her mouth, and you see, which you haven't witnessed yet, the quad split tongue. And as she looks, each of the tongues begin to utter in a different language. You hear Sumerian, you hear Aquilonian, you hear Turanian, as they all begin to whisper. Stygian seems to be certain words that you hear as she begins to talk, and her eyes begin to glow in these 4 separate languages. You are face to face with her. Your movement is done. Your attack is done. Zatoro, what would you like to do?
I think I've got something else.
Oh, if you do, please.
Didn't you say I could spend a bit like talk earlier? Can I spend a fortune point to get an extra attack in? Did you say?
You can spend 2 momentum if you want to do it, but that was your action was the acrobatics to get there, and your second action was the attack. So you used basically 2 actions, the acrobatics to get through there, and your movement, and then your second action bought by the 2 momentum was the attack itself that you just did. Normally, if you were within range, you could have attacked, and then as a second action, use 2 momentum to buy a second attack. But you used your 2 actions, one being bought, one your normal action, to get there and attack. Make sense?
So I can't
No.
spend a fortune to get another attack. Okay, that's all I wanted to know. That's cool.
Yep. Let me see. Let me double check on the fortunes. I don't think you can buy a bonus action, perform an additional standard. Yeah, you can. If you want to use your fortune, you can buy a additional standard action if you would like. As you can.
Okay.
Have.
So one quick clarification. So there was obviously some form of resistance. Did Artigan actually do damage with the sword, even if it was lessened?
Yes. You did.
Okay.
You can see you can actually see the wound. Yeah.
Okay, he's not going to care. So what he's going to do then is I will spend my last fortune point, and what he is going to do is he is going to reach under a side. He wears a deer skin. When he has got his armor on, he wears sort of like a deer skin overlay poncho with a hood, and it's got a wrapping over his right shoulder attached to him. So what he does is he reaches up into this wrapping, and although not as nice as an Atlantean, he pulls out this second broadsword, and from the resistance he tries to cut through it some more to try and compensate for the damage he lost there.
Absolutely. So go ahead and roll another attack with me. It's the same as the first one, and we will see how you do.
Come on, dude. 2 successes.
Nice. And that will give you guys back one of the momentum that was spent as we... actually, I need to take one off and then give it back. Boop, there we go. Yep, so go ahead and roll your damage for me, sir.
Anything in the pool to use?
You've got 2 momentum in the pool that you can use for additional damage die.
Yeah, I will use how much for the additional damage die? 1 or 2?
It's 1 per d6 that you want, so you could conceivably use both momentum and get 2 additional d6.
Okay, then. Would you guys be cool if I use both? I'm trying to take her out. Yep, okay, I'm going to use both, and I'm going to try and take her out of this thing. So, here we go. So, any modifier to damage, or just the number of dice I'm rolling?
Just the number of dice, yep.
Okay. So, 5. 2 more?
Oh, that's right. Momentum damage is 1, not 1 die. So you'll get an additional point of damage on top of it as it goes through, which is basically just you don't get the effects from it.
Right,
okay, so you roll a 5, which is, let me just make sure that any effects that we would have had in there anyway, which don't count anyway because of what you have. Gotcha, blue. Yep, you're fine. So with 5, you cut through, this time when you cut through, as you bring it down across her front, you feel no resistance as it opens up a wide gash that splits the robe and cuts into her kind of green-hued skin as it begins to leak this ichor, as she now feels it as it came through her 2-fingered hand, kind of wailing in the back as she reaches down, trying desperately to get a hold of the staff that she has.
I give her a wink.
She has stopped with her 4 languages. They're all screaming in different languages. Screams in French, whatever. Scratch Channel last Saturday. Smokes in French. Fantastic stuff. So as we get through that, Zatoro, what do you have?
All right, so I can see that Artigan has already closed in on this priestess or witch or whatever, and is already engaging her.
Correct.
And I can see that. I think you had even specifically said that I could have seen Cinna fall down with her bow clattering on the ground and across the room. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Then I am thinking that Artigan probably has it. I'm going to go ahead and rush over to her and try to wake her the hell up, or find a way to get her to snap out of it. And I'll kneel down and I'll kind of speak in a low voice and say, "No, Cinna, you cannot die yet. You still owe me from saving your life from earlier. You can't go yet. We still need you."
Okay, so what we're going to have you do here is roll a healing roll for me, please. And this is basically, you can't really fail it, but we'll see. Do I say as a lot?
There's a part of me that wants to use like my last fortune point for this, but then there's also a part of me that knows I'm a selfish pirate, so I really wouldn't. So I'll just go ahead and do you said a healing?
Yes, please.
Okay. What is that? Did it not? Okay, 2 dice. Ooh.
Okay, well, what ends up happening here is instead of being able to get her up and awaken her at the kind of like the front of your round, like with just a shake, it takes you the entirety of your turn. So you spend your action kind of getting her on her feet, handing her back her bow, and you get her you're back up, Senna, as you're kind of disoriented a bit, but he's able to get you back on your feet with a little bit of a pep talk that Zatoro said, which is essentially, you owe me. So as you
that
pull
is 2 that you owe me.
That's 2. No, I know. I'm
yes.
2. Definitely 2. Easy. No problem. It's smoking.
Okay, so now that we're through here, what we're going to say is the painting that was still kind of loosely framed explodes as this large serpent begins to move its way out. The priestess, as she's turning, she is absolutely writhing in pain, and she begins to whisper under her breath in the 4 tongues as they begin to speak. And with that whisper, she vanishes from sight. So Artigan, as you see her in front of you, she vanishes. You guys don't have any momentum here if you wanted to take a retaliatory, just like a swipe through the air, but I will allow you to do so for the low cost of 1 doom.
What? Me take a swipe for a doom?
Mm-hmm.
Do it!
Nah.
Do it now!
Was she looking rough, Greg? Was she looking rough?
She was splattered with all kinds of green blood, so looking rough.
It's a trap.
I mean, it's always a trap. It's always a trap.
He's not the smartest cookie in the shed. All right.
No, I'm not.
If this is cool, if this is oh no, I'm talking about Ardigan. If this is cool
Sure
with
you
you,
are.
Greg, if this is cool with you, Greg, I'm gonna roll a d20 for it because he's both ways. He sees a tactical advantage and he sees the purpose. He sees the advantage of her going as well. So if
Sure.
it's cool with you, I want to roll a d20. 1 to 10, he's gonna take the swipe. 11 to 20, he's gonna let her go.
Sounds
Greg,
good.
How much doom do you have right now, Greg?
Me, I've used all my doom. Because I received a little bit whenever you did your 2, but I immediately made you pass out because of it. So
Yeah.
As
Okay,
far as
so you're
he's as far as
you're
he's
gonna let it go.
concerned, she's gone. Let's get out of here.
Okay, so as you're all sitting up, what I'm going to do is the cultists are backing up and fleeing now. With the earlier observation roll that Senna had when she was looking at them, even though you aren't aware of them personally, as they are running, you see kind of robes being pulled down as people are going for flight more than anything else. And with them going up this ziggurat, their identities are exposed a bit, and you see what you think is the royal family of this Turanian city as they are going up. And this cult in and of itself is not sanctioned by the Empire. So their involvement in this little Sancta Sanctorum that they have in here is definitely not pro-national fervor. This is not the status quo. So as you guys see all of that, that is when we're going to step briefly out of combat to see what the thieves would like to do. As first, the front snout with the 2 slits, the 2 nostril slits, pushes through the remainder of the canvas as this creature, this serpent, pulls itself through into the area proper. So you all have a moment to speak as you kind of stumble into one another into the same area as the cultists are fleeing.
Do you want to take the snake or the people?
How about you take the snake and I'll find a way out? You can take the snake, Torg.
I draw my 2-handed sword. I'll take the snake.
Yeah, I'm gonna start rushing to examine the fountain, and I have ransack, so I can do that niftily.
Okay, I'll give everybody an action here as the serpent is looking to like extricate itself from the painting.
Yes, I will get away from that. They'll go on the other side, maybe, of the fountain.
How big is its nostrils?
The nostrils themselves are probably about a hand and a half long, so they're large slits.
Okay.
You know, like long ways, not width ways. So they're.
And
No.
can we see its teeth? Does it just have the one row of teeth?
You can't see teeth right now. Rhoda could probably tell you all about them as she saw them kind of unhinged and exposed. But all you see now is just like a long, very thin, forked tongue peeking out as it's kind of sensing its way through the painting and into this room. It seems as if it's moving quickly as the incense itself, while it had an effect on you all, has a sort of maybe an irritating effect on this creature as it's coming in.
I mean, if I can use this time to just get an extra attack on the snake, I mean, technically, you know, Cinna did tell me that I should attack
Get
the
it,
snake.
Torg! Get it, buddy!
So, like-
Go.
Okay, so as Torg turns and flexes up and hulks up and gets ready to do his
He's
movement,
gonna
what
draw his sword this time, his two-handed sword. He's feeling its sword time.
so after a complete, sea of murder done in the tunnel, now the sword's out. So as the sword comes out and Torg stands to face the oncoming giant snake, what's everyone else doing? I know that we're having a search from. Okay, go ahead and roll that search for me.
Okay. If I can ever find it, there it is. Cool. 2 successes. And since I'm up next to it, I think with Ransack, it was just a difficulty 1.
Okay, yeah. So as you get up there and as you go into our search around the fountain, you realize that there is definitely a space at the bottom of this fountain that seems to, there's a current being pulled. While the top of the fountain, that ichor and that kind of sludge that's on the top doesn't seem disturbed by this current, as soon as you put like a hand beneath, or as soon as you even put like an arrow into it, kind of searching for a bottom, you feel this draw as there's something just below surface level that has a severe tug to it. It's not dissimilar to the chute of water that you guys experienced getting in here. It's that intense.
Yeah. I convey this to whoever's nearest to me, which I think would be Zatoro. Poke it. Look at him. And I'm gonna get ready to go.
Okay, what does everybody else want to do? Zatoro, Rhoda?
At this point, Rhoda is sort of drawing her saber, not standing right next to Torg because she's not too sure what he will do, but stand slightly behind and ready to attack if she has to. But at the same time, glancing back to Cinna and stuff to see if she has seen anything or discovered anything with the fountain.
Okay, so yeah, you would definitely see that Cinna has in fact discovered something as a potential way through the fountain, as was expressed by Gerald. Zatoro and Artigan, you both would have realized this as well. Torg, your focus is only on Cobra Commander as he's sliding towards you.
I'm gonna put the spare sword away and keeping the Atlantean out. I'm gonna give Torg some backup.
Okay, so yeah, you can definitely stand beside Torg as Rhoda is perhaps smartly backing up Torg from a danger-safe distance, as several steps lie between her and Torg. As the creature comes in and looks, I am going to ask you all now what your next movements are. If combat is Torg's going into combat, Artigan's backing up, Rhoda is split between Cinna and Torg. Zatoro, what are you going to do?
From Zatoro would probably remember this, but I actually don't. Who actually has the heart from last session? Like, who actually has it on them?
Torg.
It is Torg. Okay, so that's something that we would know. In that case, I'll go ahead and get ready to fight. I'll get ready to. Once we know now that it looks like Senna has already found the way out, I'll
Yeah.
go ahead and I'll stow the whip and pull out my my rapier, or my, pardon me, not my rapier, but my sword, and try to get into movement so I can maybe attack this thing if Torg attacks it.
Yeah, Torg has forgotten that he has the heart of Crom.
I will
course
tell
he
you
is.
this: Torg does not have the heart of Crom, despite thinking that he may.
Okay, cool. I mean, he probably thought he gave it to Sinner anyway, so...
Right, right. So yeah, he's completely ready and completely into this. So as you guys are moving in and as this creature is coming out at you, Torg, I'm going to allow you to do what you do best, as the rest of the crew do what you do best. And everyone takes a move simultaneously. Torg, we'll start with you to see how things go, as it kind of is going to relate to how everybody else does this. But the snake is now, maybe, you're not sure how far out, but there's a good 10-15 feet of body behind the head as it's kind of cruising through. It has earmarked you all as not belonging here, and it is coming closer, its headband glistening.
Perfect. So Torg's a hunter. He knows a lot about snakes. He knows that they basically have one attack. They reach back and that's their attack. So if there's not enough room for the snake to curl up so that it can lunge in that snaky fashion, he's going to run in and give it a little stabby stab. And if there is enough room, he's still going to give it a stabby stab, but enough that it will focus on him and writhe up. And he'll even roll into a position where it can lunge at him easily. Because what he's going to do is he's going to ready to jump at the same time as it strikes.
Okay, so your ready action is you're waiting for them for the snake to attack you.
So that I can jump into the bite.
Absolutely. Okay. So that's happening. Everybody that has, you guys are all experienced in tactical warfare. You realize exactly what this crazy bastard is trying to do, as you can see the calf muscles flexing as he's tensing and ready to jump as this thing is ready to launch itself. So let's jump over to Senna. Senna, what are you doing?
Peace.
And you go into the fountain.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as you go into the fountain, we'll leave that for a moment as she does not resurface.
Okay, that's me done.
Okay. Zatora, everybody else holding action to see what's going to happen between Snake v. Torg? Or are we going to do something else?
Oh, go ahead, Alice.
Rhoda's going to move, seeing where Torg's trying to do, he's going to move around the side of the snake so that she's, if it does lunge and if Torg does get caught, she's going to, as much as her sword probably won't go through it, she's going to try and behead it if she can.
Okay. Sure. So you're going in executioner style to kind of close and hopefully take the head off of it if there happens to be a Torg somewhere below the head. Like
Or
deep in the
lodged
body.
in.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else want any positioning before we do this?
Similar to Alice, but I'm going to go to the side. But instead of the headshot, I'm going to go for the eye. I'm going to try and blind it.
Okay. So you guys are just readying for the next thing. Blinding, head strike. And Zatora, what are you doing? You're just kind of holding back for backup, or?
Well, once we saw Sin jump in and then not come back up, I would assume that like, at that point, we probably safely assume that that's the way out. So I would, seeing the others kind of advance on the snake, so maybe Torg won't die. I'll go with them, and since everyone's aiming for like a really cool part, I'll go for the cheek meat. Maybe like try to get a good swing in on the side of the head or something.
Get that delicacy, that cheek meat.
Get the cheek meat. That's right.
You gotta go for that. Gotta go for that cheek meat. That's a fan of anybody that likes bath salts. Go for the cheek meat. Okay, so as you guys come through, what we're gonna do is let's roll. Here's what we're gonna roll. I'm gonna roll, and I want Torg to roll an acrobatics as you are leaping into the air at the same time.
Yeah.
And we are going to compare these two in a kind of a standoff, a contested roll. And so as we go through, I'm going to roll whoever has the most successes.
Cap's beat
Will.
me to it. He's thinking the same thing. Can I use this? Can I use a fortune as like a nat 20? Can I
Yes.
do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 100% what I'm doing. I've literally just been researching snake mouths, and apparently there's a thing at the back where the tongue joins the rest of the thing called a glottis, and I want to grab hold of that.
Okay, so as it jumps for you, Rhoda, the only one having seen this before, the bottom jaw unhinges as it looks to envelop and take in Torg. And surprising even the reptilian brain of the snake, Torg gifts himself to the snake and launches into the mouth. You guys see the massive bulk of Torg disappear down the gullet of this thing, as though there's no expression in the glossy black reptilian eyes. One of them widens and one of them narrows as something inside is happening that perhaps this creature has never experienced. And so we're going to leave Torg in there for a moment, as I want to know what's happening with everybody else, as Torg's gone. He's not in the mouth or foot kicking out of the mouth. He's inside the snake. The snake's body is big enough that you can kind of see thumps kind of down its body a bit, but distinguishing exactly where Torg is, impossible.
I think at that, like, Rhoda would immediately bring her saber down, not too close to like the head if Torg could be in there, but her immediate reaction would be, he's in there, we've got to kill it. So can I use a fortune point for that?
Absolutely, yeah. So that what
Yeah.
that'll do is that'll make your success a 1, which I'm sure that you have expertise in that, which makes it an automatic 2 successes. And then you can roll your normal stuff as well, adding any additional successes to it. So you will be
Okay,
able.
so sorry, what do I need to roll?
Just roll your basic saber attack, and we'll see how many. Melee attack, and we'll see just how many successes you have, and we will add that to the 2 that you
Okay,
have used your fortune for.
that is a
Let me
1.
get you. Okay. Well, that'll be 3 total. So that means that you have 1 success that you needed and 2 momentum that you can use for additional damage die, or you can immediately spend them for a second attack. Completely up to you.
Sorry, what was the first option?
Additional damage, where you just
Additional.
coming down.
I think I'll do additional damage.
Okay.
I'm having
So
a bit of-
yeah, with your damage as it's breaking down, your saber does a bonus 4, 3. So roll me 9 damage die as you come down with a perfect strike into an area you hope is unoccupied by
Torg.
Torg.
Yeah, I'm having a bit of a problem with my character sheet. It's not letting me get
Oh,
to my
okay.
saber for some reason. I don't know
Let
why
me
it's
see if
doing
I
You
can
have
do.
the macro.
Here,
No,
I'll go ahead.
I can't. So I was gonna say I can't for some reason. It's not letting me do anything right now. I
If
might
it's
actually...
okay, that's fine. I'll go ahead and do it for you if that's okay. I'm going to put the
Yeah,
2
no, go for
additional
it. I'm
damage.
gonna log out of it and get back in just to see if that helps. So
Sure, 5 plus the effects as it goes through. We don't have any effects on this weapon, but as the 5 additional come through, giving the 3 damage plus each momentum die. It's not a damage die, but it's another point of damage as it comes in. So you hit for 5, and as you hit the back of the creature, you punch in, and as you cut in, just as you cut in, a huge gore-covered furry boot pops out, and you see Torg moving in there as one of his feet is now kind of sticking out by the neck of this creature.
Probably
Everybody
gonna be
that's-
safe.
let's see. Artigan and Rhoda and Zatoro, please all roll observation checks for me, please.
Okie dokie.
And I can do so for you, Rhoda, if you need me to.
I think it should have gone through this time.
Yeah, you got it.
Yep. Good. Working. That's fine.
No successes.
Yep. So Alice and Brew, you guys hear what you hear and see soldiers pouring in from the top of the ziggurat. They're pushing past the cultists as they come in. 5, 10, 15, as they are beginning to pour down the length of the black ziggurat. And they all have the headbands on, they all have the scarification and the quad-cut tongues as they are pushing past each of these cultists. They should be down there by next round.
Okay.
Rhoda, you have movement remaining. Artigan and Zatoro, you have not gone yet.
Rhoda is going to back up to the fountain, seeing that Torg seems absolutely fine, and she's going to start. If she can dive in, she will do.
I'll allow you to dive in. Yeah, you're able to movement and then movement to kind of fall into the water, and Rhoda does not resurface.
Okay. So I have an action and a move.
Yes, you can.
Okay. I swear this is not a meta game. Artican's plan was literally blind and get out. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to go for the blind shot to the eye, and then I'm going to get in the fountain.
Okay, since I did mention that it has one wide eye and one narrowed eye concerning what's going on under there, with 2 successes, I will allow you to hit the wide eye. With 3, you can hit the narrow one.
All right, then. Let's roll some melee. 2 successes.
It's blind. You can roll your damage to see exactly how far you sink it into its eye as one of them is taken out, and you see it kind of roll as this, burst blackness, this ebony fluid rolls down its cheek, and it's beginning to move, covering the cheek meat with the eye juice. It's a delicacy here in Turin.
As Corinthia is based on medieval France ever so slightly, he's going to, speaking in Corinthian, Artigan is going to say, in an early version, seeing Torg go into the mouth, as he swings the blade, he's going to say, "Bon appetit, wallet for 7."
Nice. So as you bam, this thing moves, and with that additional hit, we're going to say that Torg's other foot bursts out from behind the wound that you had just at the base of its very small brain pan. And so both of Torg's feet are in like separate holes as you continue to hear this muffled as it's going on inside the gullet of the snake.
Have fun, Sumerian. And I'm off.
Zatoro, what would you like to do? And Artigan, I'm presuming you're jumping into the fountain, correct? Not to rise.
Yeah, blind and out of here.
I will. I'll put away my sword and get the poniard out and try to hit the snake to where I can like maybe widen the hole where like we can see Torg's feet coming out of. And I'll try to attack it that way, and I'll be screaming, Torg, we have to get out of here now. Dive into the fountain because otherwise, I'm not sure that Torg even knows about the fountain. So
you're right, he does not.
Yeah, so I'll be shouting out, as I see everyone else jumping into the fountain. I'm like, Torg, we have to go. Pardon me, Torg, we have to go. You must let go of this bloodlust against the snake. We must dive into the unholy, filthy fountain. Come on. And I'll try to slash with the poniard. And so I do melee for that, or do I actually click the poniard?
Yeah, you can do melee with that, and we're gonna, by the number of successes that you have, we will determine if you have successes. We will determine just how much of Torg you can like cesarean out of the snake.
All right.
Nice. So with the success, I will allow you to burn the 1 momentum if you want to kind of begin the extraction process of Torg, as you have widened the hole and allowed 2 of his feet to pop out of the back of the snake.
Okay. And so, yeah, having done that, I'll definitely spend that momentum, and having done that and yell, Torg, we must go. I will definitely hot-foot it over to the fountain and dive in.
Okay. So Zatoro, you dive into the fountain. Everybody is left here except for Torg. As what happened when he jumped in? Well, after taking 5 crushing damage and an additional wound because being inside the constricting snake, you feel several of your massive ribs beneath your massive pecs crack and not sunder per se, but definitely fractures along the rear end of them as you feel the wind brought out of your body. You do have a hold of its glottis, though. You can try to remove yourself, and you heard everything. Jump in the fountain. You are having your second wound now, so you are severely disabled as far as any type of future confrontation, especially by yourself, Torg. I will allow you, though, to make any decision you believe Torg the Barbarian would make. As you have the glottis, you have a severely wounded snake that you are being birthed out of the back of its head from, and you have an onslaught of cultists.
So, from my position inside the snake, holding the glottis with my legs outside.
First off, Scrat, by the way, I love the fact that there's an army coming, and there's a discussion. Let's have a discussion.
Yeah,
Let's
Do I
do
have
this.
the glottis right, Greg?
What's the problem in front of me? That's the he's a simple guy. So if he's got one hand on and he can sort of like grip some snake skin between his legs outside of the snake, or is it like a wide hole? Because like he wants to like grip and like with his free hand and the sword try and like plunge up into the head bit of the snake a bit and make the snake die. That's what he wants to do.
Okay, I will allow you to do this, as the snake hasn't. It's basically went at the same time attacked, and it's crushing damage. We waited until now to show everyone. So you do have your turn left before it will go. I will allow you, like I allowed the others, to attack and then flee if that's what you would like. But you are severely wounded now, so with those wounds, it's going to require 2 successes for you to attack melee-wise, especially considering you are half in and half out of a snake.
I will use a fortune point.
Okay, so with a fortune point, you indeed get the 2 successes that you need. Please roll me some damage as you are able to attack this thing with perhaps a mighty blow to end your confrontation with it.
So how many dice roll?
Let's see.
Do I do it with this over here?
Yeah, with your broadsword down at the bottom, you should be able to...
It's asked me for modifier to damage dice.
You don't have any, so just go ahead and, roll it through there, and we should be able to... So with a 6, but also a complication, or no, a 6 and the effects come through. So as you also have Vicious in this, that is for a 9 damage as you drive this thing up into the brain of this very rudimentary primordial brain of the snake. And as you drive it up in there, you're able to pull not only the sword but yourself out of this hole, as you are now both you've been birthed twice in your life, Torg, and the second one none so pleasant, as you are standing there drippings with goo and your left arm is torn open, your ribs are cracked and perhaps broken, you are no longer dick deep in a snake, but you are at least arm deep in as you shoved the sword into its head, and you are standing there as the creature still appears to be alive. I will let you know this. The echo goes in your mind. Go to the fountain from Zatoro. But other than that, you can't think of anything. As
Hey, if that thing's still alive, I'm leaving the sword in it. The sword can just stay in the snake, okay? That's fine. It keeps the sword. Maybe it'll kill itself in a minute. It tries to swallow it, stupid thing.
As a monument to your devastation, you leave the mark of Torg upon the serpent of the citadel.
I will draw my chieftain's great axe, and I'm not running. I'm hurt, so I'm gonna walk to the fountain. And if anyone wants to try and stop me, they're getting a great axe to the face.
Okay, so here's what we would. I want you to roll an athletics check at. I need 2 successes here as you get to the edge of the fountain. Okay, so you walk over with the great axe, turn and prepare to go in, and you just almost pass out as you kind of look around at the devastation, and you just kind of fall into the water. And as you fall into the water, you splash, the fur boots break the surface once, and then you are all gone. And so we'll stick with Cinna, as you are now the first to enter into this, and subsequently this happens to all of you as you enter the fountain. You catch this great pull, this great tug from this current beneath the surface. And as you hit, you realize that the only reason why this fountain was opened was because of the presence of the heart of Crom. As this entrance, the key was within its aura of effect, and the fountain gave forth the escape that was built into it by the laborers and the architects of old. And so, Senna, as you are sliding through this water, the chute water level dropping to around 7 or 8 inches, enough for you to kind of put your head up out of the water and catch a breath. You catch a breath just as you see the water break over an abyss. And before you have a chance to do anything, you are thrown off into what looks to be at least an 80-foot drop. And as you're flying through the air, thoughts of Gerald and that sickening snap and crunch that Rhoda heard when you guys first entered this temple, you gladly and blessedly do not hear it, and instead hear the splash of water as you enter this icy cold cave water. The current again takes you and whips you along, now almost a volcanic black sandy type of silty river. And as you flip through this area, splash behind you, splash behind you, splash behind you, crash, crash, splash behind you as Torg hits the water. And as all of you kind of come to rest, the water dissipates in a fan, like a silt covered fan, as the water level goes from 4 feet to 2 feet to 1 foot and to 6 feet. It just kind of rushes over this sand. And as it rushes over the area, you see a boy standing there, and he's got a bunch of horses and at the mouth of another cave. And you see him looking around as all of you pull yourselves up and are standing there and kind of taking into account everything that has occurred. And the boy steps forward and he goes, "Where's my father?"
Ooh. We'll maybe talk on the way.
"No, we must wait for him. Where's my father?"
He is dead.
He is dead, boy.
You
He
put
did not
that
make
so
it through.
lovely, Dog.
He died fighting many foes, though. It was a hero's death. It was glorious. You would be so proud of him.
Without
Can I
him,
cover Torg's mouth before he says anything else? Just stop him.
without
Torg's kind of
him-
hurt, but yeah. Go ahead, Cap. Go ahead, Cap.
Sorry, I'll say, and this is actually true because he gave us the information. Artigan will say, without him, boy, we would not have succeeded today. We owe him our lives. He died honorably and in victory.
Yeah.
How does the boy look?
He's, he's about 11 or 12 years old. He's very tall for his age. He's got shaggy black hair. He looks very sad, but it's almost as if he's kind of swallowing the emotions as he nods. That's the way of things.
So
May I
are
travel
there,
with you?
if you have horses, you can come.
I do.
We all live and die, boy.
Boy, what is your name?
My name's Conan. And that's where we're going to end this episode, the inaugural episode of The Heart of Crom, as the thieves have made it through the Citadel, fought through everything, and reached the horses on the other side, and a boy named Conan. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thieves of all ages, let's go around and talk to our cast as we are going to be getting ready for Firefly here in the next 15 minutes, 20 minutes. So let's go backwards let's go with Brew. Brew, you survived. It's a surprise to me too.
Right, I know. Some quick thinking. Well played, everybody. No, I had a blast. Looking forward to jumping back into this down the line. Looking forward to seeing the new folks as well, and see what they have lined up. And you can find me at Brewhammer or at Brewhammer DND on Twitter, and I also play with Greg and Lauren in the Valley of Soot and Skull, a Greyhawk D&D campaign over on the Greyhawk channel on Saturday nights.
Fantastic, brother. And let's drop straight down to Lauren. Lauren, how are you doing?
I'm good. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm excited to see what the next crew does on this. I like this world a lot. You can find me on Twitter at thatsaltyginger. And yep, I play in Valley of Soot and Skull tomorrow night, where I will be buffing and protecting the shit out of Brew. Because I'm nice, and I only had nice intentional things that I was doing.
I have witnesses. There's like so many witnesses right now.
I always keep my word. And then on Sunday nights, I'm back here with Greg for Project Athena, Pulp Cthulhu at 7 Eastern. Whee! Which I'm also sure is going to be fun. So yeah, that's what I do.
Nice. Sorry, I was getting everybody's stuff in Twitter. Please follow these lovely people. They're awesome, and they do awesome things a lot. Speaking of awesome people, let's go up to Cap. Cap, what did you think?
Yeah, the popular quote that escalated quickly. Wow. Yeah, that was quite frankly amazing. Old man Artigan survives to live another day. So yeah, I had a ton of fun. Thank you very much to you, Greg, and all my fellow players. That was absolutely amazing. And to you for watching. My name's Capricorn Cross. Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, all at Capricorn Cross. I do a lot of RPG content in terms of video games and tabletop RPGs. I have my own show here in the UK called The Chronicles of Cascadus, a story and character-driven game on Tuesday nights at 7:30 p.m. UK time. Also, I do a lot of prep sessions online, in particular coming up very, very soon. Adding another show to my repertoire is going to be prep sessions for my next show, which is going to be played under the GURPS system. And it's actually based in Terry Pratchett's Discworld, which I'm very looking forward to. So, yeah, thank you all very much for watching. Cheers, and, well, thank you very much. Have a good one.
Nice one, brother. And we'll drop it down and hand the ball off to Alice. Alice, how are you doing?
I am doing great. Greg, this is awesome. I love this world. I love this. Just this is, it's so good, and I really enjoy playing Rhoda, and I enjoy playing with all of you. I think the characters are so awesome, badass, and diverse. Yeah, I just loved it. I am White Rabbit Pick on Twitter. I'm the other half of Scrat, so when I'm either DMing on our channel, or if I'm not DMing, I am playing in the channel. I also am in Warhammer on Encounter Roleplay Wednesdays, which I think is 5 p.m. EST, and I will be in our new campaign of City of Mist on Mondays. So yeah, I am very, very excited for this, and I loved this. And Greg, thank you for being an awesome DM, because this is so good. So good, I love it.
Oh, thank you very much. And we love having everybody here, except for Scrat. And Scrat, how are you doing today, buddy?
I mean, I want to high again. I don't know if Torg can die. I mean, throwing himself into a snake's mouth, fighting 6 people he definitely shouldn't be fighting. This is amazing. I feel like I feel like I could have fought forever, but I took the sensible decision. Survivor. Great fun though. Enabling all of that. Genius. For a minute, I thought when you said my legs were getting out, I was going to have like a snake costume to wear, which I thought would have been quite cool.
We were headed in that direction.
But as for me, I'm Scraticus, and I run the Scraticus Academy with Alice. We run D&D all the time. So at 4 p.m. today, we're playing a game where people are going to try and survive a revolutionary town. Then tonight, I'm over on Little Red Dot's channel playing Fate of Cthulhu. That will be 8 p.m. EST. Tomorrow, I'm taking the day off. Sunday, I am playing a game at noon, where we're playing the bombing mission. If any of you remember the bombing mission 1 that we did, that's awesome. And then at 4 p.m. we're playing another one where we'll be starting in a tavern and having a nice quiet game. On Monday, I have a new campaign starting. I've got the City of Mists. I can't tell too much, but I can tell you it's set in 1999, and it's going to be a sort of heroes and villains kind of campaign. So it's going to be interesting. And that'll be featuring Alice, also Keanu, who I've seen in chat, Tool School, Zippy. It's going to be a lot of fun, and Grant as well. Grant will be there. Tuesday, I've got Wizards and Wardrobes. Last week I left them on like a Negan-esque style ending where one of them is going to die, but they don't know which one yet. And there'll be more tweets about their reactions in chat as I'm getting them to write eulogies and that sort of thing. It's all good fun. And then on Wednesday we are with Kiana on the Feywild One-Shot Wonders, and then on Thursday we are over on Encounter Roleplay playing the Larkspur sequence. Lots of D&D going on over here. Lots of it. Love it.
Fantastic, brother. Fantastic. And City of Mist, have fun. Love the system. You guys are going to rock it. Can't wait to check that one out. Everybody, as for the channel here, Grimjack21502, we are going to be going into Firefly in the next 15 minutes. Please stick around. I believe we have a full cast and crew ready to rock it through the black with you guys. As for next week, tomorrow on the channel, Pulp Cthulhu's Project Kronos from 2 to 4 Eastern, as we continue the tale of the original Olympians, both their first tale of 1915 and perhaps their last one of 1933. And then on Sunday night from 7 to 9, it is Project Athena. And ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be a slobber knocker because we had a bunch of donations come in last week to make this shit crazy, and crazy shit I have made. So we are going to see something that World War II can only hope, as odd and awful as that sounds, to emulate the violence that is going to be dropping in 1933 Nazi-controlled Berlin. And then in addition to that, next week on Conan, Age Undreamed Of, we begin our second standalone episode where we see exactly what's going on in this world with this group, but with different people. As we will welcome in Ethan, we will welcome in Actual Slack, Big Pig, we have Emma from WebDM will also be joining us, and we have special guest star who's in chat, I think, Ozzy, as he is going to bring the amazing... It's Zafar, the amazing Zafar, in to show us exactly what's going on. It's a different type of view of the world of Conan, and it is called The Whisper of Clouds. So that is our next episode here in the Age Undreamed Of. But stick around for Firefly. It's coming up next, and I had a blast with all these people. Love them so much. Everybody take care, and we will be back soon. Stay frosty, thieves.